sound we heard way too little in the playoffs. For people who don't know, this is the Flyers goal horn going off right now. And we definitely did not hear that enough in the postseason at home and in entirety, really, in the Pittsburgh series. This is a much too early look ahead to next season. I think there's going to be some moving pieces in this offseason. Of course, we know we don't get guys we have eyes on in the free agency, and other guys don't fall into place. Matt Reed and Brandon Manning will not be back on the team next year. Val Filppula is up for debate, depending on who comes into the free agency and what we do in the offseason. If we need a guy like Val could be back on the team next year. But barring some unforeseen change, it looks like Matt Reed and Brandon Manning will not be. Brandon Manning, of course, has had falling out with fans over the years, as he just is really only a depth defenseman. We've been putting him in too much, and it has shown mightily. And then another guy I could see being on the move this offseason, if we find a partner, is Radko Gudas, because for right now we have Provy, we have Ghost, we have Sanheim. There's three guys. McDonald, who had a very solid year this year, will be the fourth guy on the defense. So you got 2-2, you just need two more. Well, then you got Robert Hagg. So like I said, Provy, Ghost, Sanheim, Hagg, McDonald. So taking out Gudas now gives an option of having one of those minor league guys come up, whether it'll be a Samuel Morin, who, by God, is definitely ready by next year, or a Myers will take a big leap, or whatever. It leaves you another opportunity to do that. Another guy, I would not be surprised if he's on the move this offseason. Both of these guys, I'm indifferent on whether they get moved. Great. If they don't, that's fine too, because I think we're still fine places for them. Ratko is more towards the side of, if he gets moved, that's good, and I think that might help us a little bit more, but if we keep him too, I'm also okay with that. For Simmons, I really love Wayne Simmons, and I don't want to see him traded, but I think he might be on the move this offseason due to the fact that next year's the last year of his current contract. He will be going into his 30 season, then I believe, or 31 season when you would renew him. So the Flyers might not be a team looking to do that at that point. We already have G and Jake for long-term contracts into the 30s, so you might not want to give Simmer one. So I could see him being on the move to get out in front of that and maybe get a good guy, because he still has trade value. And this is the point in the NHL where with power forward type players, when you get to that age, they either keep going or sink. Now, Simmons had some injuries this year. I think he is going to jump back up and have a good year next year. It's just going to be a waiting game to see if it's with us or someone else. But if you trade Wayne Train, you're going to get some very good assets back, because he still has a good trade value. He still got the goals this year. He just hasn't been great overall the whole season because of lingering stuff going on the whole season. But I could see him moving and would not be surprised. I think Giroux will, of course, stay on the team and remain with us next year as the captain. He played great this year. He didn't have the best playoffs, but I think he will have another good season next year. And him not having that great playoffs, I think we will come back and make the playoffs next year. And G will have that big season again and then carry it into the postseason. Jake, I think, will still be on the team next year and just will continue to do his thing, continue to have a good year. I think Coots will follow up his first explosive offensive year with another great offensive year and just continue to show that he was just waiting to hit his peak on offense and is now ready to take off. So I think that's great. I think TK will continue to show improvements. Patrick, I think, will take a big leap to kind of maybe even a Travis Konechny leap, where he goes from having only a few goals to being near 20. I think Patrick's kind of ready for that, and he showed some signs. He also went through some injuries this year, which sucks. So I think having him take a big leap next year will definitely help us, and I could foresee that happening. I think in terms of goaltending, Peter Mrazek will be gone because, of course, if we give him a qualifier, then we have to give Detroit more because of the trade. I don't see that happening. Wouldn't shock me, blow my mind if we decided to keep him, but I just don't see it happening. Now, Brian Elliott is under contract for next year. The likelihood is he will remain on the team. He, of course, had a pretty solid regular season. After the playoffs, we all had the knee-jerk gut reaction. Elliott blows. Well, if you look at his stats actually were not very bad throughout the entire season. My friend and I had this conversation a couple days ago, and then another friend and I had it just the other day, where Elliott actually had a pretty solid overall season. I think he had 23, 22 wins, and had a pretty good goals against average. If you look at his numbers in comparison to the entire league throughout the whole season, he just had injury bug issues. And of course, we have Neuwirth, who's a good, solid, skilled goaltender, but just a piece of glass. So, I think, of course, you have Lyon, who showed he can be an NHL backup this year. And then you have Anthony Soulages, who showed he could be that in his little sample size the year prior before his knee injury. So you have to see how he bounces back from that. So you got some depth, so it'll be interesting to see what the Fly guys do there. I think the Fly guys will have a good season again next year. I think there will be definitely some moves this offseason. We might add a scorer like a Thomas Vanek or somebody like that, because I think we do need a sniper and just a straight-up scorer over having just all these solid playmakers that sometimes decide to pass too much over shooting. So this has been Sports Fanatic News, a way too early look ahead to next year's Flyer season. Peace out.